AIMCA. We're here with Jack Bilmes, a professor of anthropology at the University of Hawaii, just with some questions about ethnomethodology, conversation analysis and related disciplines. Jack, could you tell us the basic research ideas of ethnomethodology?
Well, when I teach my students about it, I start with Garfinkel's definition, something on the order of ethnomethodology is the study of the rational properties of practical actions as an ongoing contingent accomplishment, something along those lines. And then I try to unpack the various words, all of which take, each one of those words takes a while to explain what does he mean by rational, what does he mean by practical, and so forth. But by the time I get through the words, they have an initial sense of what ethnomethodology is. Okay.
Well, could you unpack some of those ideas just briefly for us?
Well, when he talks about the rational properties, he doesn't mean by rational what I say a decision theorist might mean, or at least he doesn't mean only that. He doesn't mean just like matching of means to ends. He means anything which is planful, categorized, typified. He's got a list of things that come down to basically being organized in some sensible way, in some graspable way.
Okay.
Well, you don't want me to go through every word,
but yeah, so
that's an example.
Actions was one.
Well, of course, his notion of action is tied up with his notion of member and mastery of natural language. And in fact, I think the way that the quote goes is actually something like practical action and indexical expressions, or something like that, when those things get tied together. And of course, ethnomethodology's approach to action and what it is very different from that of the sociology or any of the social sciences, really.
So how is it different?
Well, there's actually a kind of tension within ethnomethodology, which most people seem to not take very much notice of, as a tension anyway, between the notion of action as something which is constructed after the fact. That is, you do something, and then in the way you account for it is what sort of gives it its position in the social order. You post-define it, if you like. But then there's and you find that sort of thing in the work of, say, the early work of Wieder and Zimmerman, and of course in some of Garfinkel's works. But then the other side is action as something which is a series or a concatenation of very finely built behaviors, so that action is, by this notion, the order of action is not added in afterwards. It's intrinsically a part of what's being done, and it's the part that we tend to ignore because we don't. It's Garfinkel says seen but unnoticed.
Yeah.
So he's very attentive to how the action is built in its fine detail, so as to appear as action and not simply as sort of behavior.
Yeah. Okay. So what are some of the basic research methods of ethnomethodology?
Well, I think that the ethnomethodology is basically a state of mind that's sort of Zen. It's social scientific Zen. It's seeing the attempt to see things as they are rather than as we have typified, categorized, pre-interpreted it, to see what's really there before it gets interpreted. And, you know, to the degree that that is possible. And, you know, it's very much like the sort of Zen practice of being a mirror to the world.
Okay, and so what are some of the benefits of ethnomethodology?
Well, the benefit, if you want to, you know, I'll call it a benefit, but maybe, you know, I'm not sure it's a practical benefit. The benefit is to see the world as it is, or to attempt to see the world as it is, to see that what things are really, what social life and the social world, social reality is really consists of.
Okay.
And I think that's the, you know, pretty much the explicit aim of ethnomethodology.